I became an interpreter because I was jealous of 10 people at a lunch table. No, I wasn't inspired by them. I wasn't cold. It wasn't destined. Jealousy, yeah. And this is a story that I have never told properly until now. And we get to do it in today's video. So I came to the UK in my late teens, and I arrived carrying a version of me that I have been carrying for a very long time. Shy. I was introverted. I was shy, shy. Like when you say someone's really, really shy, that was me. Heavily set, I had this self-loathing of self. This regard of self that I could not name at the time. I just did not know why he did not love me, why he couldn't stand me. I mean, there was elements of it, like my birthmark for one. Like then I had these glasses I could barely see and all these things, and I had those thick glasses as well. And I was this tall, lanky person. So yeah, all those things, yeah, you could see why I had that self-loathing for self. But I could feel in every single room I walked into, I had a habit of disappearing. You never knew I was there. And it wasn't like in a dramatic way, it was just very quietly. I mean, she was here? Yeah, she was. And I would get into spaces and make myself as small as possible and there's no eye contact. So I was always looking at people's feet. I could see, I would admire their shoes, their feet, their under, but I could never look people in the eye because I never wanted to draw attention to self. I was you would find me at the edge in a corner of the room and I would stay there. And I was invincible by choice because being invincible felt safer than being seen. And I had gotten good at it. I was so good at just being and not knowing I was there. So good that most people didn't even know or even notice I was there, which was exactly the point, right? Why I was doing one thing. So I was good at that notion. So I went to college and I can remember that I can't remember what I was studying at the time, but I remember then there was this group of deaf students. There's about 10 of them. Every single lunchtime, they were there in the corner. They would drag their chairs across the room. Their faces lit up each time they saw each other. Their hands were like going. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about. To me, they were just flying about. They were laughing. They were always, oh my goodness, the joy in them is like you could just see their whole body was involved in just being with one another. And I will find myself trying not to stare because I didn't want, to be that person, like just, but I would just be like the one that's like look gorgeous, like looking at them like that, right? But I could not look away. I always found a subtle way just to like, because there was something always happening at that table with them. And I've never seen this anywhere else. They were completely free, free to be loud without making sound, free to take up space without apologizing. And I remember sitting down there thinking, oh my gosh, I want that. I want that. And it wasn't that not that I wanted the language, nor was it that I wanted the career, nor for the purpose either. I just wanted the feeling they had, the ease in them, the joy that was exiting from there without shrinking from them. I don't know what they were saying. I've never seen people waving hands before, right? I just knew I wanted to feel the way they looked. And I did not know what to do with that. So every lunchtime, from a safe distance, jealousy would happen to those 10 people. And I never spoke to them. I just observed, I just looked, lingering and wanting. And then something happened. So the church I was attending at the time, had a deaf person move into the ward, and they were signing. But the person, they also brought someone who was interpreting for them. And this person was traveling from a long way to get to where we were based. And it was, I guess, becoming too much for them. So one Sunday, the announcement came. They were looking for about six people, six volunteers to who are willing to go and learn sign language. Yeah. So that this the person could feel welcome and feel like part of the family, the church family, right? And when I heard that announcement, oh my goodness, something in me immediately said, like, yes, inside, like, yeah. No one knew that I was saying yes. It was more like a, oh yes, yeah, yeah. I like, I would love to, like, oh yeah, it's a, yeah, please, yeah. But I was still in my shy era. Okay, I was still that person who would disappear in edges, like did not want anybody to know she's there. But something about that announcement made me feel like being in places that specifically for me, like, oh my goodness, I would love to, like, man, to go and learn what these people are saying that's making them so free. So I went for it. I got a nudge from like my first, oh yeah, go, like you always talk about this, like you. So I did. So they paid for us to go and do the first level of the course. So all six of us started the course. At the end of the year, I was the only one who finished. That shows how much I really wanted to like feel this thing. So basically, it was just we did the level one, the basis, so that the person in the congregation could feel welcome. They could feel, yeah. So when the whole, excuse me, we had done the course, right? Job done, learnt it, and that was it. But I couldn't stop. They just wanted just so just say hi and blah, whatever. Something about the language just it pulled me in a way that I had not expected. Right? It was bringing me out of my shell. This person that couldn't look people in the eye was now having to look to get the language, to know what people are like, get the sign, to know this. So I was breaking out of this cocoon of the shyness thing that I put on myself, right? And it felt like purpose. It gave me something that felt like fun. And and I had and that I have not had in a very long time. So I just kept going. I kept learning. And here is what I started to realize sign language worked with how your brain process for me. And it didn't work against me being dyslexic, right? I had spent so much, a long time in spaces where I would think I was the problem to be managed, where my dyslexia was something to hide, where the way information moved through me were slower or different or just the way things were supposed to work, right? And then I found this language, this visual, expressive embodiment of language, and it didn't fight me. It made sense to me. I could see it, I could feel it, I could hold it in my body before I could even put it in my hands. And slowly the language started to teach me things that nothing to do with interpreting, right? It taught me what? Eye contact. I started learning how to start having eye contact, which I've never done in a long time. I can't remember when I truly looked in someone's face, truly looked into them. Because you cannot sign without it. You have to look, right? It also taught me presence because the language demands it. It taught me how to be in a room, how to make up space, how to be seen without disappearing. That was a big one for me because it was kind of like, I want to learn, but I don't want. Oh, but yeah, you have to sign. People have to see you signing, and that was huge for me. It started off as a hobby, right? And then when I went on to college, alongside my college work, it was like alongside everything else I was doing at the time. And I was just doing something for me that was an internal stuff. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm doing my thing. Sorry. The husband is calling. But anyway, we'll get back into it. But slowly, I started becoming visible. I started to be myself underneath all these layers of shell that I put on me. And this work found me. I didn't go looking for it. So a colleague had mentioned that they needed someone to be a communication support worker, and that I was and for me at the time, I was still working in a retail store while doing my uni stuff and going to and all those things. And initially I was like, this is just a hobby for me. It's just an interest, and I don't even know what you're talking about. You want me to come and do what? Anyway, I ended up saying yes. And it just grew from there. I got better. I got more confident in the work. And I started thinking maybe this isn't just a hobby anymore. Maybe this could actually what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I decided to just, let's just make a career out of this. Let's just do this thing, right? So, which I did until somebody told me that I couldn't. Yeah, because of my dyslexia. That conversation in the classroom that shook me. Like the way it landed. I mean, I have talked about this in about the moments in the previous video because it shaped so much of what came after. Being told that you couldn't do this because you are dyslexic. After now saying, okay, this is what I want to do and this is what I love. Yeah, so I'll try and link the video into this video, what what that was. But I decided anyway. I went on and I got that qualification. And then I had the certificate in my hand. Okay, I've got it now. And you know what? I waited for that feeling. That feeling of like, okay, I've got this now. So all this feeling, all this insecurity should be gone, right? Over. The feeling I thought the qualification would bring, that finally I'm done. Everything will settle. I'll be in yeah. That everything will click into place. That I would just know that I belong here. The feeling would not, I'll just be, right? But you know what? The feeling didn't come. Not the way I expected it. And again, I kept going with it all, striving and like, oh, I'm loving this, right? Then something happened. Something just started happening. I began co-working with other interpreters, with other experienced interpreters at the time, interpreters who had been doing this for years. And I could feel it in the room. The thing underneath the profession, the same doubt I had carrying, they had the same like the hesitation, the internal battles. They never quite seemed to match feeling that composed exterior. And I remember thinking, it's not just me. Oh, it was never just me. And if you found your way through this, and if you have learned to show up anyway, right? And if I have learned to build something out of all those doubts and hiding and starting over, then maybe this is actually the work. that I get to do, not just the interpreting, this helping other interpreters understand what is actually happening inside of them and how to move through it. Yeah, the realization of that started coming through as I was going through the motions and tackling on my own. You see, personal development had always been part of how I worked on myself. It was part of what I did to break free. But before I had the language for it, I was always looking for ways to understand why was I the way I was. Why did the Tao feel so loud? Why is the shrinking for me? It was so automatic. It was just like that, and I would just do it. And over time, I started training formally. I started off being doing a law of attraction coaching to a QSCA. I did an NLP, neuro linguistic programming practitioner thing, and also went into the life and business coaching. As time went on, and now an elite neuroencoding specialist. And with all those tools that I have gained on, I started to see something clearly. The interpreters that I walk alongside, right, were not struggling because they lack skill. They were struggling because nobody had ever helped them to understand what was happening underneath the skill, the identity, the nervous system, the stories they had told themselves. And those stories, even others have said. And for me, I had lived every single one of those stories. And I started to put something together, not theory, lived experience, because in this profession, we come with our own lived experience with things that with our life. And that can also help influence how we show up in our work and influence how we are great in certain areas. But sometimes, if you have carried on that feeling of not self, you have no belief in self, that you think you're not as good as anyone else, even if it's not the profession, just you as a being, or you're like, whatever that is, those stories, those things, they come in, they show up in the profession as well, because it's part of who you are until you do the work to make sure it's not. So, plus all those things that I've gone through, plus the frameworks that helped me understand what the language has already like that just started in me, right? So I do this because I was that person. I was hiding on the edge of rooms. I was one who could not make eye contacts. The one who watches, who watched 10 people at lunch table, right? And wanted their freedom more than anything else. And I did not become an interpreter because I was cold or because I have some affiliation or relationship to it. I became one because I was searching for something. I did not even have a name for it, but I found the language. Actually, the language found me even before I knew I was looking, right? And then it gave me something that I didn't know I needed. It gave me back myself slowly, imperfectly, but real. And now, every interpreter I work with who is carrying that same quiet weight, I see them because I was them. And I know there is a way through it. So, if any part of this story felt like yours, if you recognize something in the hiding, maybe, or in the searching, or waiting to feel ready or belong here. Subscribe and stay hung because we do this every time, every day. And there's so much more where that came from. And if you want to just really start understanding, what are those patterns that might be sitting underneath everything for you right now, there is a free identity audit that'll be in the description box. Take it. It takes roughly about 10 minutes to do. It will show you exactly what your next level of growth is waiting for you. And the link is below. It is completely free to do. I am Nene. And yeah, we do this every single day. Remember that your voice matters and it is your time to use it. Bye for now.